Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Peteman Reviews. Today we have the Generation 1 Combiner Snap Trap, part of the Seacons. This is the Commemorative Edition. Subtle changes with the Commemorative Edition, mainly the colour scheme, so he's more in line with the other Seacons, with the magenta kind of pinky colour and the turquoisey green colour. His head, when he changes into robot mode, is the same turquoisey green colour. And finally, his sword has been chromed, which quite nicely matches the chrome here as well. But otherwise they're all relatively minor. It's more colour scheme variation rather than any wholesale changes. So, being the leader of the Seacon, Snaptrap is by far the biggest of the robot, and the most articulated, yes, and probably the most believable, if such a word can apply to some of these guys. Unusually for a team that's based entirely on an aquatic theme, Snaptrap's actually a tortoise. Maybe a turtle. Perhaps a turtle is probably the best idea for him. In this sense, the fact that he is a turtle means that his feet actually have a practical use, whereas the others are all fish with feet. Snaptrap is a turtle, and turtles have feet anyway. He doesn't have a target master mode like all the others. However, he does have an actual action mode, so you've got quite a large lever here, and when you do that, it makes the cannons fire. Okay, so it's a fairly basic thing. However, it's actually one of the very few examples of any form of movement with cannons or otherwise in the G1 range. So it's quite nice to see, and you kind of think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I know some of the much larger characters like Scorponok, when you rolled him along, the legs moved, but very few others that I can think of actually have something which is articulated. When I say articulated, I mean something that you can press and something else happens. So it's quite a nice little feature to see. Very basic, but actually it's quite a nice little feature to see. In terms of the turtle, he does have some level of articulation, not a huge amount here, because then that starts a transformation elsewhere, but he does actually have some limited articulation, which isn't too bad. He's got a place to store the gun, and of course you've got the aforementioned sword. So in terms of transformation, it's not particularly complex, but it works quite well. So to begin with, flip up the back legs like this, because you don't actually need them at all for this. You probably will need to remove the Piranacon element, because you need to get the legs fully up, and the Piranacon element does get in the way a bit, which is a shame, because now you've got to find somewhere for your Piranacon element without losing it. The head, just close the mouse, but the head actually flips over completely like that. To see what I mean about the turquoisey head, that was black in the original edition, but now it's turquoise like the rest. Now these are actually his legs, so again he's somewhat unusual in the G1 world, in that the legs of the character are completely different to the legs in the alt mode. And another nice little feature is the fact that when you rotate the arms like this, the hands pop out automatically. I don't think you probably saw that very well, so I'll show it on this one a bit clearer. So you rotate that, and as you rotate it, the hands just pop out by themselves. It's a very nice, simple feature. I kind of wish a few more had used it, because while it is a very simple auto-forming feature, it does nevertheless work quite well. And there we are. He is unfortunately extremely rear heavy, so we probably are going to have to just figure out a way of trying to get the rear feet out of the way as much as we can do, so that he doesn't tip back. Well, it will all help when we put the weapons in, and he does definitely need to hold the gun and the sword, otherwise he tips to the back. So that's a bit of a design flaw there. The sword is quite difficult to put in. Unfortunately, this is probably I'll try it in the other hand. This is probably as a result of the Commemorative Edition mould. Yeah, it fits perfectly in the other hand, of course. That seems bizarre, doesn't it? And now the gun really struggles. Yeah, this is a commemorative edition fault in that this hand is actually a little bit too small to hold anything. Typically he can hold the gun that way upside down, so I think that's an actual error in the toy, which is a bit unfortunate. However, that's probably the best way around it. So he's still holding the gun, it is upside down, but you just about get away with it. So and the other downside, of course, is you now have kibble left over. Combine a kibble maybe, but the half shell doesn't go there anyway. So in terms of the actual robot himself, the proportions are a little bit unusual in that these are his shoulders, and the way you expect the arms to come out, they actually go on a bit further over, so he's got extremely wide shoulders, extremely narrow waist, and then all this gubbins going on at the back here. Feet are a bit too small, I think, which is why it falls over a lot. Aha! And the other reason it falls over a bit is because we didn't have these down. That means we can probably move those up there. Just give them a little bit more balance. So we'll just give that a theory test. If we take these out, is he now balanced? Yeah, there we go. It always helps when you fully transform your toys. In my defence, they are perfectly camouflaged, but nevertheless, it just goes to show little things like that makes it not balanced at all. So in terms of size, well, we compare him with Seawing. I know that the main guy is always taller, but that's just ridiculous, isn't it? Seawing is barely half the size of him. And I know that's true of all combiners, in that you look at the aerial bots, you look at the Stunticons and so on, but half the size is a bit extreme. I might expect him to come up to about there, not up to there. So that's a shame. Shame for him, not for him. Shame for him. Compare with the other guys, and he's finally taller than the other G1 characters we've been comparing against. Finally taller than Silver Streak and Shrapnel. Finally, someone who's a decent height. And actually, he is probably one of the larger combiners, ironically, considering the fact that all the others are so tiny. Snaptrap is so much taller than the others and bigger. I mean, you just look at the size of his head, it's finally in proportion. Whereas this guy's head is just tiny. He actually has a proper size head. And as good as Snaptrap is, it really highlights how bad the others are. Snaptrap, out of all of them, is the only one that I would consider worth buying, not for the combiner mode. Okay, the tortoise mode or turtle mode, it's alright. One does wonder why he transforms into a turtle, but when he's actually in it, it's actually pretty good. You've got some decent articulation. You've got the pom-pom firing of the guns. I'm a little bit ashamed that this is not correct, but that's not a fault with the toy, that's a fault with the manufacturer, or the manufacturing of it. Portions of the arms are a bit funny, but the rest of him is good. Head's actually pretty decent detail there. It's kind of like, well, it is basically Optimus Prime, isn't it? The head, just slightly altered. But it's basically based on Optimus Prime, or it gives a strong impression of being based on Optimus Prime. I like the sword, I really do. I like the chrome effect on it, but the fact it's got some pretty intricate detail on it. It's meant to be an incendiary sword, so one wonders why it's silver and not red, but nevertheless, it's got some really good details on that to give the impression of fire. Even the gun, and I know we have to have it upside down, pretty nice. This bit in particular is quite a nice touch too. It's not just, it is obviously one lump of plastic, but it's actually got some detail to it that you don't normally see. So yeah, Snaptrap is by far the best of the Seacons. The only one I would consider getting if you weren't going to combine into Piranacon. Obviously you are going to combine into Piranacon and Snaptrap does well with that as well. So there we go, that is the core of Piranacon, Snaptrap, a member of the Seacons, and this is the commemorative edition. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave any comments below and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you, goodbye.